Ready? Andy, Blue Collar Corner. I'm here with a gentleman who just spoke at the landmark hearing. We're going to ask him a couple of questions. What brought you down here today, sir?
Well, I'm with the American Center for Law and Justice, which is Jay Sekula's nonprofit. I work in our New York office. I'm a political director, but we're currently representing Tim Brown, who was a first responder, survivor. He was in Tower 7 when the planes hit and actually came out of the rubble.
I know Tim. He's a good man.
Yes, so we're here representing his interests.
Okay, I thought it was very strange. This is a landmark hearing, and you have your lawyers with you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like the first two speakers who were pro-Mosque were talking about everything else but the actual landmark status.
When the people who are in favor of landmark status veer from the issue of landmarking,
They pounce us.
they're deemed out of order. Yet the proponents of doing away with a landmark site, of demolishing a building that stands for the memory of September 11th, when they bring out extraneous factors, that's deemed politically okay. And I think that's definitely a hypocritical statement on the part of the officials.
I realize that too. Brett, do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that one of the things we wanted to emphasize is that the landmark status of the building cannot be considered in isolation. You have to account for the historical importance of this building. It obviously had significance before 9/11. It's been on the calendar for 22 years, but more importantly, 9/11, in addition to the previous criteria that the building had, elevates that even more to a building that is worthy of landmark protection. So I think that's one of the things that people seem to be ignoring to some extent, the proponents of not landmarking the building.
Now, one thing confuses me. They keep on saying freedom of religion. We're trampling over that freedom of religion status. Meanwhile, it's an operating mosque as we speak. All we don't want is that they build this gigantic mega structure looming over the ground zero site.
Again, it's not the new structure that's at issue. It's the demolishing of the structure that exists, which had inherent landmark features, which the community board was proponent of landmarking for 20 years.
Until this situation arose.
And now we're not talking about the use. We're talking about preserving the building. It could be used for whatever purpose. There's no restrictions on use.
Now, the mere fact that the landing gear hit the roof, does that somehow upgrade the status as far as being considered in a landmark sort of arena?
Right, and that was the point I made, that there are fully 6% of the landmark buildings in New York City are landmarked for purely historical events. In other words, they have no architectural value whatsoever.
Well, because what they participated in history gave them that.
The example I gave, the building that was bombed by the Weather Underground had no architectural features.
What building was that?
That's 18 West 11th Street.
And it was bombed by the Weather Underground, a domestic terrorist group within our country.
They actually had a terrorist malfunction. They were building bombs, and the bombs blew up, and they decided to landmark that building. But they will not landmark the building where the wheel from Mohammed Atta's plane.
The epitome of hypocrisy. Gentlemen, thank you very much.